Sorry about that abrupt sound change. Yeah, I'm a professional sound engineer. Hey, folks, thanks for hanging out. What's going on, everybody? You guys want to talk Bitcoin, Ethereum, talk about some altcoins, talk about some metals, all that good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out here with me on Big Cheds. It's just warm welcome. Great to have you if you've never been here before. I teach professional technical analysis for free. CMT level, like professional TA, classical charting, Japanese candlestick theory. I would start on my YouTube, which is Cheds Trading. Watch the Masterclass tutorial playlist. Watch the Trading Encyclopedia, 3-minute videos every day. Right? Every single day, brand new videos on like every concept you can think of. Hundreds of videos and technical analysis. Super proud of it. So all that good stuff. I've got interviews with really smart people in the space. I've published 4 books. Super proud of that. They're all free on my YouTube. So Twitter, here's my books. Boom. These are free on my YouTube. And I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. You probably see me there. Appreciate all you folks. I do want to tell you a couple things to get out of the way real quick. If you're looking for somewhere to trade, check out BingX. I've got a great relationship with BingX. They're a nice place to trade, so consider checking that out. And Bitcoin Live, I'm a founding analyst. So you may have seen, if you go to my YouTube page, I have quote tweeted, we'll talk about it today, but basically why I was targeting 62K for a bounce. And I just did a little bit of a clip from a video. I do a member report there, every Wednesday, Sunday night. And then like if the market changes in between, you get an update from me. But this is our team at Bitcoin Live. I'm a founding analyst, so consider checking that out. A lot to cover. I got a lot of tweets. I want to kind of walk you through how we got here, what I'm looking for. And then I want to hear from you. I want to hear like what your thoughts are and your questions. To kind of see, and I'll try to just give you a good overview of where I think we're headed, what I know, what I don't know, which is a lot. There are a few things I know. There's a lot of things I don't know. So I'll try to give you a reasoned, just perspective on the market. And that's what I'm here for. So we're kind of waiting while things fill up. Just great. Thanks for everybody. Thank you for being here with me. And I try to be as active as I can on YouTube, but I, spread myself a little bit. I want to, I save my analysis for Bitcoin Live. I can't just stream here all the time. That's where you get me at Bitcoin Live. So let's start out here. What are we looking at? I've got a box. What is this box, right? So it's a price zone, and the price has bounced and is bouncing off of the price zone. And even if it's just something like this, we have begun a bounce, and we were due for a bounce. And so I'm going to walk you through, thanks for all the comments, folks. I want to walk you through why I was targeting 62K and then the bounce as it was happening and like where it might go and all that good stuff. So I have a whole bunch of tweets. So let's start out though. What's the first tweet I have here? Okay, so this is kind of macabre or dark, but we'll copy that. Let's put it over here. So this is up here. New market participants don't realize how much worse it can get. I'm kind of saying like, don't just buy the hype. We're just beginning to bounce. And this is after, we started to break down. We started to lose the weekly 50. Okay, big deal. We know why that's a big deal. Kind of looking at prior cycles, losing the weekly MA50. And then the failed throwback, right? And so after that failed throwback, really the debate had been, we're doing some kind of a topping, maybe head and shoulders type, right? I'll get more into that, the idea of a measured move and not overlooking the obstacle. But the debate had been, where's our right shoulder? And a lot of people had thought, 107K or even 100K. We weren't even strong enough to do that. And I have a tweet that I didn't pull up, but I basically said it's notable that this cycle, not even strong enough to form a right shoulder. Let me find that. Tweet, Feb 3rd. Yeah, here we go. So here's what I want to say. So I basically said what's notable about this cycle, this cycle top, is that price is so weak, not even able to form a right shoulder. It caught a lot of veteran TA guys off guard, expecting 107K. A lot of people were expecting, a stronger bounce before a rollover, and we didn't get it. It was weak. And you can check past, I don't need to review this last like 3 months because you guys want to know about this bottom and what it means. But we really got we got the bounce we needed to fade really on the failed ascending triangle reversal here, 94.5, and the failed break here. And I took a long, but I got stopped out. It was a small long. I was really wanting to see 99K. We couldn't get up there. I was really wanting to see, 107.5. Just not enough strength to even get up there. But this right here, this kind of fake out breakout was really akin, which basically means similar to or like the behavior we had right in the 2022, right after the 21 top, the 2022 failed breakout. And this is when I made my call here for the 15K, right? This is when I made my call for 12 to 15K here. And so I was kind of on watch for something like this. I thought it might have been higher, but we were so weak, again, as I discussed here in this tweet, that we didn't even have enough strength to form, a proper right shoulder or something higher. So price weakness, price is rolling over. Okay, we covered this. Boom. We covered this. All right. Now, what I said here was interesting. And some people think, oh, Ched, you're just being provocative. Oh, you're just saying things. You're just saying things because you just want to get, interactions and mentions and impressions. Well, I don't have payments turned on Twitter. Like I tweet when I think there's value. Like I'm not tweeting stuff. And maybe it's for adrenaline, like serotonin, dopamine, or whatever the neurotransmitter is, but it's not for I don't have payments turned on. I don't want to be incentivized to tweet stuff, just so I can get $15 or whatever it is the payout. Like I try to tweet things when I think I have value, something to add to the conversation. And what I said here, okay, this is back in early December. I basically said the reaction at 76K will be an important clue about how long it will take to get to 60K and below. So I'm telling you two things here, or several things. I'm saying, number one, we're going to 76K. This is up here at 93. I'm saying we're going to 76K, and then we're going to 60K, and then probably below. Well, we did two of those so far. We did 76K, and we did 60K. We'll talk about the below in a second. So we got to 76K, and I didn't pull up the tweet, but I should probably update that tweet as well while we're here. A little bit of housekeeping. So let me see here, because I mentioned that. So what happened? Let's continue with the story. Let's go, one step at a time. So here we go. Did I even tweet it out? I'm not sure I even specifically tweeted it out. I'm pretty sure I did. I can't find it. Well, I basically said I don't like the reaction, and I definitely talked about it at Bitcoin Live. So maybe, maybe that's the case. But I basically said this ain't it. This is not the reaction we would have wanted to see at 76K. So let's go to it. Okay. So we dropped to here. So we have a very brief consolidation, but 76K was important, right? Because it was the beginning of this last consolidation range, and it was the weekly swing low, right? It was the weekly swing low here, which has failed at this point. But it was a reasonable spot for a bounce, right? At this point, but we didn't get it. It just wasn't happening. If you go to even the lower time frame, right? And I tweeted out a little bit here. If you can find my tweets, I'm so active, but I basically said trying to break range peak, and then it rolled over. So you tried to bottom here. You had a right shoulder failure if you wanted, right? If you want to take a short, you had another one here, an invalidation, another short in the range low loss. But it's just not a great reaction, right? So this goes back to where I said the reaction at 76K will be an important clue about how long it will take. The reaction was weak. We had no reaction at 76K, which meant we're going to 60K pretty quickly. And it did. And look, I'm very satisfied when my analysis plays out. And I know people are hurting, it's dropping. It's not like I want the price to go down. It's that it looks to me like it's obvious the price is going to go down. And I'm trying to warn people. Oh, Cheds, you're a bear. I got a lot of flack up here. Cheds, you're a bear. You have a bear bias. I mean, whatever. I'm just telling you what I think. So important clue about how long it will take. What's up, chocolate? About how long it will take to get to 60K and below. All right. And then I tweeted out this. This is very important. Okay. Let's tweet this out here. This is not that long ago. This is as the reaction is failing. I'm noticing a failed reaction at 76K. So we're getting ready. We're watching 76K. Important clue. Okay, we're getting the information that the reaction sucks. There's no reaction. So we're going to 60K and below. And I'm telling people, get ready here. Right? Be ready at 62K zone, circa 21 top in 2024 structure, and rising SMA 200. There's a lot to unpack there. So if you want, on my Twitter page, right, pinned tweet is a video. It's a 3-minute video explaining why this level. And this came to be while I was doing a member report, and there was a question. And it's funny, a lot of my analysis, I give Bitcoin Live credit for my success because it forces me to stop and to look at the market in a detailed way. And I came up with this thesis during the report. It wasn't that I came up with the idea and then told Bitcoin Live. Like, it came during the report, and that's how it works. So here, why, right? So as the price is failing here, I'm saying we watch 62K. Well, why? Why? Okay. So here's why. If you look back, you think, okay, well, Cheds, it's a head and shoulders, right? And I know head and shoulders, knees and toes, right? I know about the measured move, right? From the head to the neckline, right? And your measured move gets you to whatever, 50K or something. But here's the problem, and this is a concept I've talked about a lot, is the idea of an obstacle in the way of a measured move. I have videos on this in the Trading Encyclopedia, right here, this playlist, and I literally just posted this 3-minute video here, measured move with obstacle. So it's in the encyclopedia too, go watch it. But the problem is, you can't just overlook all this structure. The price paused and consolidated here for quite a while, right? If we're on the weekly chart, and it's like many months. I mean, 33 weeks. It's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. That's more than half a year. So the price paused and consolidated here for more than a half a year. You're not going to just fly right through that. It's just not going to happen. CryptoDoc says, thanks to your continuing education. Appreciate you. I teach you and I get better by teaching you. So it's symbiotic. Okay. Thanks for your work. You're welcome, Witch. And Salam, good to see you, man. I'll get to your questions. Keep them coming. Fire up the questions. So you're not going to just break right through this deep consolidation range. And it lines up with 2021 peaks. And it lines up with the rising SMA 200. So there's a concept of the first test of a long-term moving average in a trend this strong. Look at this price distance, and then back to the moving average. You usually will hold in that first attempt. And I write about that in my 4th book, The Trading Journal. I tweeted that out as well. It didn't get a lot of replies or retweets or anything. I thought was, it should have, but it's right here. This is from the Trading Journal in the free version. It talks about the first test of the rising MA 200. There's a trading idea, how to define the trading idea when it fails. And then I even had like a sample entire Trading Journal entry of what it would look like executing this trading idea. And so you had that as well. You literally had that as well. You had the MA 200, you had this price structure. So that's why I said, watch this level and be ready for it. Okay. And then the price got there, right? Okay, here we go. So then what is the next tweet? Oh, there's too many things, too many tweets. What is the next one? Okay, so what I noticed, so we're on our way there, and I made an observation. I said the price is still not below the lower Bollinger Band in the weekly, and Seth responded to me, proof of life. By the way, Seth is a great follow for equities. He's just top-notch. What I said to him, this is very important, proof that the sell-off is orderly and not enough for a real snap-back counter rally. What does that mean? Well, if you've watched me for a while, and I've been teaching you for a while, you know what I mean. But when you have, so the price at this point, where were we here? Where were we at this moment? So we're at this point, the price is still not below the lower Bollinger. I hate it when it does that. It's my fault, but TradingView, right? There you go. This is in the candle. We're still not below the lower Bollinger Band, right? It's orderly. You need these overreaction bounces, right? You think about a trend, and when you have a trend, say the trend is a downtrend, you have more sellers than buyers, and you don't need volume to continue in a downtrend or an uptrend because there's a trend. There's already an imbalance in supply and demand. It's when the trend that's in force gets challenged, say you drop into like support, then you get a big volume spike. No volume, big volume spike at a key level because the trend is challenged, right, by a counter trend force. YK says, Cheds, thanks for educating us. You and Axel are the best. Thank you. Axel is amazing. So the counter trend force is challenged and you get volume, right? And so that's what you need is to challenge the trend. And when you have you have all these concepts in classical charting that I talk about. And so say you have a level. So if you want this level to hold, you want a sharp drop into it because you get an overreaction. It goes too far too fast, it snaps back. But a slow bleed, you're probably not going to hold that level. And so I was saying essentially, it looks really bad, folks, but we're still not below the lower Bollinger Band. So, it's not looking good. It's probably going lower. And that's what this tweet is saying. We're still not below the lower Bollinger Band. Then I started to see some stuff. I'm like, okay, this is getting interesting. So now we have the lowest daily RSI since the COVID crash, okay? Lowest daily RSI since the COVID crash. We'll go back. It was here. It was starting to really drop. And, is that notable? Yeah, that's notable, right? The lowest daily RSI right here, right? It was all the way down to like 16 or 17. Lowest since 2020. Now, there's a thing with RSI and oversold, and I have a tweet about this, and I've written about it. If you go to, the Trading Encyclopedia, I have videos on RSI. I have videos on the concept of oversold. You really want to buy when it leaves oversold because the problem is you don't want to buy when it enters. Like if you buy, like say you bought here because it's oversold, like you got annihilated. Even here, you got annihilated. But you generally look to buy when it leaves oversold, or you look to sell when it leaves overbought, right? When it's coming down, right? And that's just a general idea, right? You don't buy when it enters because it's going up, right? You want to not fight the trend. So, I was like, wow, this is the lowest RSI. I'm watching, and it's not really necessarily a buy signal, but it's really a pay attention signal because we're close to it. It's something really to pay attention to. I mean, that's notable. I mean, that's notable, lowest daily RSI. That means we fell really quickly, fast, which aligns with my thesis of we need a sharp drop, right? We need a sharp drop. So there's the daily oversold. Then I said, okay, wait a minute. What are we doing here? Largest daily volume candle since August 5th, 2024. I mean, that's crazy. Here's volume candle. This is 61K. Since August 2024. And if you understand the concept of volume basics, again, and I'm not plugging my book, like this stuff's free, right? It's in my Trading Wisdom book, Volume Basics. I have video in here, Volume Basics in, this is listed by date published. But I think if you go by most popular, I think Volume Basics is up there. Volume cluster. I have a lot of stuff about volume and why it's important and how to like contextualize volume. But I have a video in here from Trading Wisdom, a chapter in Trading Wisdom, Volume Basics. I'm not going to waste your time. Moving Average Basics. There's Moving Average Basics, Volume Basics. Only 460 views. I don't know what you people are doing. But here, and this explains the idea that you get the most volume at the top and the bottom of a chart. And again, that's because the trend is challenged by the counter trend force. This volume is like, okay, pay attention. Like you're going to get a bottom likely when you see this type of a volume, okay? So I'm noting super oversold, COVID crash. Okay, I'm paying attention, and we're heading back to the level. We're at the level I said we should probably get to. Next, okay. Beginning to test lower Bollinger Band in the weekly. So I think I am missing let me find the tweet I'm looking for. I said best case for, here we go. Here, I said this is the tweet. All right, sorry about that. So look, I basically said this. This is the best case for bulls is a sharp drop. You don't want to hear this. I get it. Like when we're in the moment, I understand like you don't want to hear this. Cheds, shut up. I don't want to hear this. The best case is a sharp drop. Like I don't want that. But if you want to reverse the trend, you need that. You need it. Good morning to everybody saying good morning. You need it. Best case for the bulls here is a sharp drop, 69K. And leading to an overreaction and a sustained bounce, all right? Okay, so I said here, still below the lower Bollinger Band, not yet. Now we're starting to test the lower Bollinger Band, and the best case is a sharp drop. Meanwhile, absolute price cascade on the 4-hour, just nasty. This is crazy. You see this many 4H candles in a row. You're watching for the first pin bar. You're watching for the first Hammer, Dragonfly Doji, lower shadow candle after that. And still think it holds here. You know, have you seen anything like this before? A couple times, right? Absolute price cascade. And I say here, so first of all, no relief, but I'm watching for a 4H pin bar. Did we get it? What did we get? Did we get anything like it? Watching for a 4H pin bar. There it is. We kind of had, you know, this is more of a spinning top than anything, but this was it. This is your first, it's the first green candle after 10, lower shadow, watching for a 4H pin bar. And it's lining up the multiple time frames. It's not like I'm looking at this for this in a vacuum. This is after I said, we're going to go to 76K, then we're going to test 60K area. Then I'm saying, look at this and be ready at this area. And I said in Bitcoin Live, like, this is a setup for a swing long trade, a really good long trade at 62K. So I'm watching for it. I'm telling you, we need a big drop. Okay, the drop's coming. And then boom, here we go. Bitcoin tags 62K zone. Now we watch a response. Really should hold here long term. I try not to make these high conviction calls unless I have high conviction. Doesn't mean I'm high and I have conviction. It means I have high conviction. And it really should hold here long term. And it's because it's the thing where you can say in here, I'm saying, like, you know, we're going to 62K. We're at, you know, 74 at this point. You can have conviction, but it's hard to follow through in a plan because once the price gets there, you're scared. What if I'm wrong? What if it's going to 50K? And if you read the replies from people, when I'm calling bottoms here in these after these drops, it's, oh no, I want it to go 2 or 3K lower because of some random target. But you have to follow the momentum story. You have to follow the price story. I said literally right here, we got what we needed as described in the tweet below. We need an overreaction dip on the weekly. Okay. Nice little bounce so far. We need an overreaction dip below the lower Bollinger Band to start a bounce. It started. I mean, it's not magic, right? We got what we needed. We got what we needed. And then I said here, that's got to be it for now. I don't know if I can be more clear. I said, we'll delete if wrong. This is me joking because I never delete. I've never deleted a bad call. And I have many. I have a ton of them. You know, if you don't have bad calls, you're not trying to have good calls. Okay. Here you go. That's it. That's got to be it for now, right? So basically, you know, basically up here, I said we're probably going to 76K. We want to see what the reaction is. And that will tell us how long it's going to take to get the next level down, which is basically 60K. We did it. And then I said, we're due for a bounce. We got it. And we're bouncing. So, you know, it's, as I said in my tweet, and this is a little bit like Obama, like giving him the medal, you know, the meme of the guy giving himself the medal. I'll do this when I nail it like this. Oh, I'll talk about bump and run in a second. I said also here, Bitcoin 4H is a candidate for a bump and run reversal. This is right down here. And I'll explain. It's the same. I've explained the concept a little bit. But then again, this is, here we go. This is, you know, like Obama giving himself the medal. Rough 24 hours for those who don't think you can use technical analysis on Bitcoin. Good luck explaining my feed. And that's it. Good luck. And I just showed you. I literally just showed you ahead of time the last few steps, predicting it and how you played it in the moment. And quickly on the bump and run, I'll check the chat and then I'll continue on. The idea of the bump and run is along the idea of what I was saying with the weekly Bollinger Band. You need an overreaction. And so you have an initial move. I have a video, by the way, of course, on bump and run reversal in the Trading Encyclopedia. Where is it? Let's go up. Bump and run. There you go. Bump and run reversal. It's the second most popular video. So the idea is that you have a move down. And you have some trend. And again, remember, you don't have to get too excited or too fussed or too specific about how to draw a trend line. It's just drawing a trend, right? And you have a trend, but then it accelerates. So it's accelerating down too fast. It starts to really accelerate, okay? And the bump and run is the idea. And there's all these rules. And you can get hung up on rules in classical charting, or you can think about concepts. And there's rules 30 to 45 degrees. On the move, and then 45 to 60. It kind of fits that. It's fine. It's not to be exact. But it's overreaction, boom, and then you get a bounce. And that's it. So we're on watch for the bump and run bottom. There you go. Okay? What do you do now? What do we do now? Well, you should already be long. There was a long trade in there. If you wanted to take a long, you should be long now if you wanted to be long. Does this negate my call that I think the call I made up here, around 95K, that I think we're going to eventually bottom somewhere in this range? Does it negate it? No, it's just a little bounce. I don't have enough information to change my high time frame. Karina, are you using 2 standard deviations in your Bollinger Band? Yes. Default. Default. That's my Bollinger Band. It's default. I use all default. Nothing's custom. And if you want to know what my settings are, just go to the Trading Encyclopedia. Check out what are my moving averages here. Video 13. It explains my entire setup. So I don't have enough information to change a long-term thesis, right? But even if I think it's going to 35, 45K in that range, I'm long here. And so what next? What do we do? Well, let's zoom in a little bit. Well, you can very clearly, what did we just talk about a moment ago? 76K zone. That's clearly the next level above, right? Principle of polarity. Lost support becomes resistance. Lost resistance becomes support. So clearly, that's our next level above. We have a pretty good shot to grind our way back up to that area. We also want to think about the EMA 8 as a concept of primary downtrend resistance or primary uptrend support, right? The EMA 8 exponential moving average, which means more price weighting to the recent price action. So you have a pretty good shot to at least bounce up to EMA 8, 70K, and then you're going to be dealing with this structure, okay? So we shall see. I think if you get back up and you can hold above, really above 76K, then you have a shot to get back up to, I'd say 86K. I'm kind of thinking about it this way. So I can't predict exactly where it's going to go, but again, it's levels of interest, right? And when I have a super high quality conviction, you're going to hear it from me on Twitter, you hear it in Bitcoin Live. So we have a nice bounce in play. This is what's called a piercing pattern right now. This is forming a piercing pattern. So far, which you close above the midpoint of the prior candle. So far, piercing in the daily. I think I have a video on piercing. I'm not sure if I've done that one yet. But we're looking at really EMA 8, but kind of 70K range, 76, and then 86. Okay. Let's see here. Bunch of questions. I want to go over Ethereum, metals, all that good stuff. So, Mohammed, thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Tamir. Folks, fire up a question. I'm happy to kind of try to puzzle through the charts here for you. I am here for you. What do we think about Ethereum? Now, Ethereum, real quick, 2150, right? That's the level, the most important level in the history of the chart. I don't see that to be bombastic or be dramatic. Okay, very, very important level. The ascending triangle breakout that I covered back then, held, failed hold, held, kind of knifed through. So say you want a piece of Ethereum and you're not long, if it can flip 2150, you can take a long. So a recapture of 2150 is very much a potential long trade. Probably can ride it all the way up to 2700. That's a pretty good looking trade. Okay. Solana looks like crap. I think it's going lower. But you've got, this swing low you can use, and then you really need to recapture 125 to regain the trend. Let's look at silver and gold real quick, because I know a lot of people are interested about that. Silver here had the failed higher low. You really would have wanted to see it initially hold here in this range, and it didn't. So if it dropped back below, it's in a little bit of trouble. Now, there's a nice bounce here, but I don't like it now being on the underside of EMA 8 and that initial failed hold here, because what you would have wanted to see something like this, and then a higher low, continued tightening range, and continuation. We didn't get that. So there's evidence of weakened trend on silver. See, like this is pretty good with gold. Gold did what you were hoping to see silver do, right? Boom, right back into support. Lower high on the long leg doji, higher low, and now you've got the tightening range or the equilibrium. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go watch the video on equilibrium in the Trading Encyclopedia. It's essentially a tightening range. Move up, and you get this tightening range. You can watch the higher low, lower high. to manage your risk. That's all technical analysis does. It gives you a tool to manage your risk, right, based on a certain level. What do you guys want to talk about? What charts you guys want to look at? What questions do you want to look at? Psalm Capital says, would an accelerated drop in Bitcoin to the targets you've mentioned lend itself to a shorter bear cycle? I don't know, man. That's like a weird fundamental question, or that's like I don't even know what you mean. Would an accelerated drop in Bitcoin to 35K lead itself to a shorter bear cycle? Well, lend itself. Look, if I understand you correctly, right? If we get to 35K more quickly, I had been anticipating, and it's just like, look, and it's just, this is like a super, super guess. I know I'm presenting myself as a wizard, and I am a little bit here and there, but like when I say I think it's going to 35K, and then it's okay, when? Now it's not only price, but it's time. And what I had said is I was anticipating like end of the year. Like if we got there much quicker, all right, that's great. Now we can continue back up. You know, for me, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get somewhere. It's more of what that would mean for the trend, and it would be a nice bottom. It would make sense. It would be just enough of a dip below the weekly 200. It would be the logical structure. It would be a panic level after this is lost, and then we can continue back up. So, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. If it happens quicker than I thought, great. I'll just adapt. I'll adjust. Like, I have strong opinions, but I'll adapt to new information. Okay. Let's see here. Let's continue on. Hype. Yeah, let's talk about hype. Bidding at 32. What do we think about that? Interesting. So hype actually had some relative strength, and I didn't tweet it, but I was noticing that the last couple days here, as the market was bleeding, especially Bitcoin was bleeding, we didn't see it even do a throwback or retest 28, right? You guys know throwback, resistance, broken becomes support, right? Throwback, bullish, retest. Didn't even test that. So some relative strength there. Couple shots at this level. So what do you do? How do you incorporate this new information? Well, these upper shadows clearly show, bears rejecting higher prices, but it's forming a level. These multiple rejections form this level that will allow you to take a long if it flips. So in the meantime, if you get another shot at 28, I would definitely take it. Okay, you say you're bidding 32. Yeah, it's reasonable. It's right here. I mean, it's somewhat of a higher low, a little bit of the middle of the channel type of play, but I think that's quite reasonable. I did not catch the knife on hype. I wasn't playing it. I was just all Bitcoin. Like when Bitcoin is doing what it's doing last night, I know it's my time to shine, right? When Bitcoin's doing all this stuff, and I was just like, when I'm seeing this, daily RSI, lowest RSI, and large volume, like I am on Bitcoin. There's a reason people follow me and have me in notifications, and why I consider myself to be one of the best at what I do, which is pure Bitcoin price trend. Like I'm going to be laser focused on Bitcoin in the critical moments. I'm just trying to do my best. And so I didn't play hype. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Good morning and welcome. Love from Qatar. Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate your comment. Tamir says, hi, how are you? I'm doing good. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. I got a busy week. Friday, I got a busy weekend, but I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to do this live stream. Like I would live stream more, but like I owe it to Bitcoin Live to just be dedicated to them. So I'm just Bitcoin Live no matter what. And I'll squeeze in a live stream here when I can, usually every week and a half-ish or so, which I think is enough. Let's see. What do we see? Martwan says, I didn't receive the notification. What's up, man? That's crazy that I was going long. Okay, let's see here. Covered that. What is my Bollinger Band settings? Good. I'm just catching up in the chat here. Let me see what you folks want to ask me about. So, Cheds, Glorfindel. Cheds, when you say long time, does that mean a week? Trying to understand the context. I don't know. What did I say when I said long time? Like, love you long time? What do you mean? Glorfindel, can you explain? I don't know what I said and what was in context to. I'm happy to explain, but I don't know what you mean. Clean and Go says, will delete if wrong. You need to put lol for people not understanding. Yeah, but like, I have a reputation. I feel like I've earned my reputation. Like, I don't delete tweets. And I've been doing this for a long time. I feel like I can make that joke and people know I'm not going to delete my tweet. But, I hear you, if you have to explain a joke, is it a good joke, right? That's the other thing. How to navigate this bounce, YK? Well, it just depends on how you're managing your risk, okay? You can be long. You should be long already. I talked about potential overhead obstacles right around EMA 8. You have the swing low you can be using on the weekly, 74, and you really a price zone 74 to 76. So I think it's got a pretty good shot, I would say, to get up to 74 from here. And of course, it's just a guess. It's always a guess. But there's a lot of air here, which is the air we needed, right? The air needed for the quick drop. So you navigate it by dropping to lower time frame when the price, I would say, starts to approach the low 70s and look to see if there's weakness. Maybe take a little profit preemptively and see what happens there. Let's see. How do I know when Bitcoin bounce is losing steam? Well, you're going to see some weakness on a lower time frame, okay? And it's probably going to correspond with something up here. So losing steam. So for example, let's say we do something like this, and you can identify this recent bounce level. So say some type of a bounce. We get all the way up to here. We do this, whatever we do, we get all the way up to here, and we get like a failed breakout of this level. That'd be a big sign that, okay, that's probably it. Okay, for example. So, and then I would also be on watch here at this lower wick structure when the price gets there. Again, the concept of classical charting, when to use what time frame, when the price is at a key time frame, you drop to lower level. I explain that in all my work. When do we reclaim 100K in your opinion? I don't know, man. That could be it's probably a long time away. We probably don't reclaim 100K for many months, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. What invalidates my 35 to 45K range drop? That's a great question. I'd say a weekly close. Weekly close back up above 107.5 would invalidate that for me. Let's see. Chocolate says, only one for me today. Hype strength, talked about that. So I covered it. Hopefully that's enough, my coverage. If not, let me know. Irrevocable says, in 2 years, we'll be at 200K. Relax. Yeah, maybe. Probably maybe. I mean, that's been the trend. And it's one of those things. I was thinking about the psychology of the market and how, when I was up here and all the, not I was up here, when the price is up here. It's funny because I identify with Bitcoin. Those are my pronouns, bit and coin. But when the price is up here, it's really easy to believe all the narratives and hype, the treasury, the Bitcoin treasuries and the shitcoin treasuries and, all that stuff. And you're like, man, it really is going to 200K. And then when it gets down here, you're like, this thing is over. It's quantum this. And, Jeffrey Epstein invented Bitcoin or whatever, right? Any FUD you want, you feel like it's over. And you have to try to reject getting caught up in the moment. And it's obviously really hard to do because we're emotional animals as humans, as human primates. We're just incredibly emotional. And it's a benefit to us as well because it helps us with our social things. We need to be social. That's how we survived, as a species to get this far. Does a lack of a blow-off top or euphoria change your macro expectations? No, I don't know. I disagree. We didn't have a blow-off top. We had a move. I've addressed this before. I don't even know what that means. I mean, we didn't have a blow-off top. We went almost 700% off of the bottom. I don't know what more you would need to consider that a blow-off top or just enough of a move for it to be a top. And I've heard that before. We didn't have a blow-off top. I heard that at 120K. I heard it at 100K. I heard it at 94K when I was saying we were going down here. I heard it. I still find it unconvincing. It doesn't do anything for me. It's meaningless. Yeah, MicroStrategy. Let's talk about macro strategy. All right. I mean, certainly due for a bounce. I mean, that's fair enough. And you dropped right down to this level. So I had actually been saying for quite a while, in my YouTube stream, somebody said, "Hey, Cheds, you nailed the MicroStrategy move." I don't even remember exactly what I said, but it made sense as it was. First of all, I was vociferously, which means loudly, actively warning about MicroStrategy and the loss of the 200 here and all these breakdowns. Big trouble there. But basically, as of recently, the last couple streams, I said, you know, we're going to drop to around 100, 110 range. We did that. So it dropped to a logical level. Look at that. Confluence. Prior structure. 2021 high. Bottom of the range. Prior structure. So it made sense. This is still a logical and orderly chart. It doesn't mean the bleeding's over. It doesn't mean the trouble is over. But I think it's got a pretty good chance to bounce up into the 150 range. That's my thoughts on MicroStrategy. And then it probably rolls over and continues down from there. That's my best guess. All right, Cheds, what do you think about CRV? Yikes. Now we're talking about shitcoins. Sorry for my French. A lot of great questions too. I'll try to answer all of them the best I can. So what do I think about? I'm pretty sure I hate the chart. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I've got it here under the like terrible charts list. Yeah, I hate the chart. What is your question, though? What is your question about CRV? You said, what do I think about the all-time low of the 18 cents and it dropped to the 2025 nice bounce in pro? Yeah, I mean, nice bounce. The whole market's bouncing. But is it a nice bounce? Where's the relative strength? It's lower than Pepe. It's look at H-bar, bigger bounce, Ondo, and all these like terrible charts. Is it a nice bounce or just everything, right? So it's not about CRV. This is a mercy bounce in this chart. This is a mercy bounce, right? If this is the bottom in this chart, where's the volume? Where's the volume? Where is the volume? So don't be fooled on this. If anything, short setup if it goes a little bit higher. Short setup if you get a little bit higher. Absolutely terrible chart. Don't be fooled. I've taught you all these things. Look at this. What do you mean nice bounce in CRV? Look at the rest of the market. It's not even like a relative strength player. Just absolute trash chart, right? Can we get a closer look at SOL on the daily and what the next level is we're looking for? Looking to get out of okay. Looking to get out in this bounce. Yeah, that's reasonable. Soil Lana. So yeah. I think up here, up there, next level, right around, right at 100, right below it. 95 to 100. We look at a closer look in the Sailor with the next level. Yeah, that's the next level right there. And it's got a pretty good shot to bounce right up into that area. Then it probably will roll over and fail. Let's see. So, hey, Martwan. So we need at least 1 year of bottoming until the trend changes direction. Why? Why? Why do we need that? Because we've always had that. We've always had that in Bitcoin's illustrious whatever 10 or 11 year career or whatever it is. Why? We don't need it. We don't need anything. The only thing you really need to reverse a trend is a sharp drop. And then look what we've had here. And then ideally a drop to just major support, confluence, rising moving average, all this other stuff. I don't know that we need to go a year. I mean, the time thing, there's these concepts. You can bottom, you can have a time-based capitulation where it just stays somewhere forever and okay, now you've got a reversal, or you can just sharp drop. You don't need both. And you certainly don't need a certain amount of time in a bear market. You have to be a little bit more flexible. I don't think that's of value to think that we need, why can't it bottom in 2 months? I see no reason. I'm not saying it will, but I don't see any reason why it can't, or it would be impossible for it to bottom, just because it doesn't need that, Martwan. Can you look at the MPC chart? Sure. Non-player character. Crypto. I'm pretty sure it's trash. Somebody asked me about this in Twitter, and I said it's trash. And this is yikes. Yikes. Yeah. Delete from watch list. This is a delete from the watch list. These bounces are faded. Any bounces up here, just short it. If you're holding it, I would just sell and move on and then delete it from your watch list. I hate the chart. That's my lecture. This is a very bad chart. Dark mode, plead. No, I'm sorry, brother. I've always been light mode. Some people don't like dark mode or don't like light mode. Beautiful bounce in play on Bitcoin. And I'm not done here, but I'm just proud of how well it's worked. And again, the people who don't think TA works, on Bitcoin, they have some work to do to explain my feed. We were watching, again, watching the reaction here at 76K. I saw a weak reaction, and then I targeted 62K. And if you haven't watched this, you got to watch this. Okay, you got a 3-minute video. This is from my Bitcoin Live member report on why I was watching 62K, and we bounced from there. So it's like level up your skills. Be ready for it. How did I know ahead of time that we were going to go there and bounce? It's just because it makes sense. It's logical, okay? Good morning. Okay, XRP long at 150, tweezer bond. Why? Why are you long in XRP? What are we doing? Don't we have better things to do? I mean, there's decent volume. I do kind of like that. All right. The question is, though, I know I kind of, sharply reacted. Look at that. It's beautiful, actually. And yeah, you could be long in here on the recapture of the range low of the broken down descending triangle. The reason why this is as reasonable as any other thesis is you can define your risk. If you take a long here, you only hold as long as it holds, say, above like 149 or 148 or something. That's reasonable. So I know I kind of reacted, but I think that's fine. That's quite reasonable. Google, sure. Somebody asked me about googly eyes. Google. Alphabet. And what could be some good buying levels for Google? I did NPC. You asked twice, Moxa. It's trash. Delete it from your watch list. Sell and move on. Google. What could be some good buying levels for Google if NASDAQ shows weakness? And then you talk about midterm years and blah, 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 whatever. I'm not as we all know, I'm terrible at politics, and I'm not a fundamental analyst. So what do we think about Google? All right, interesting. Outside bar, right after an advance, not a great sign. We still have a little bit of time left in the candle. What are some levels? 290. Yeah, that's a good level if we get down there. 290. Failed hold there. Here's the gap fill. We had the gap fill, right? Price response, another price response there. And I'd say next level down right around 290. So I would pay attention. 290 should hold. And we'll see from there. If it's a super sustained bear market, you'll want to buy right around the rising MA200. Can we look at coin? Sure. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for joining me, folks. If you haven't already yet, you really need to check out the Trading Encyclopedia, 3-minute videos every day. I made it for you guys to teach you all these techniques. You may think I'm a wizard. How do I know? How do I know? Well, I teach you everything I know. Coinbase. Yikes. Ugly. Not a great response either. Not a great response, but this is a spot where it makes sense to potentially hold in the short term. Got some work to do to clear. I'd say it's got some work to do. I'd say to clear the bottom of this gap. All right. It's got some work to do to clear the bottom of this gap. So if it can continue to have strength, even here though, I shouldn't overlook this level. All right. So that's going to be our overhead level right around 190. But it's an okay response. I still think this chart is in trouble. It's in trouble. It's kind of an interesting, kind of a broadening pattern there as well, with a nice clear horizontal level. So you can take a short if this breaks down. Look at coin. Let's look at SBET. And don't feel bad, Moxo about NPC. Don't feel bad. It's just a bad chart. I'm just going to tell you what I think. SBET. What is SBET? Is that crypto? SharpLink. Sorry, that's the Ethereum Treasury, right? Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, don't like this one. Don't like this one. It's going lower. Get rid of it. Don't touch it. Sell it. Avoid it. Short it if it bounces to to 8 or 9. Terrible chart. All right. Let's see. Good morning from Los Angeles. Todd, thanks, man. Appreciate you. We covered XRP already a little bit. Let's see. Karina says, Cheds, do you ever take variables other than price and chart into consideration, such as fundamentals? No, fundamentals is astrology. I don't like astrology. Fundamentals is astrology for men. It's the idea that the market is wrong and the price should be something because of earnings, or the price should be because of adoption or because of some partnership. Just play the chart. The only thing I pay attention to other than price is sentiment. And if you'll recall, on the nut bottom, the absolute nut bottom day on Bitcoin, right? I said sentiment has bottomed. Okay, I did not say price bottomed until 18.5. If you remember, I went long at 18.5. So sentiment maybe is better than TA. I spotted TA bottom 18.5, but I spotted sentiment bottom here at 15.5. Find the tweet. So sentiment, I use sentiment. It is incredibly powerful, but fundamentals is just pure nonsense. It's just absolute astrology. I have absolutely no respect for fundamental analysis. And it's fine. They have no respect for me and my, technical analysis. Okay, good luck. Good luck explaining my feed for the last 24 hours. If you don't believe in TA, good luck. Good luck with that one. What do I think of TRX? It's been a relative strength player for sure, but it's broken down. The trend looks like it is rolling over. I'd be very careful here. I would have wanted to see it hold at a minimum, like around 29 cents. And it failed to hold there. So that's definitely an issue. FLNC, are we buying the dip or is that red daily candles too nasty? What is FLNC? Fluence Energy? Okay, sure. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's an uptrend. This is a nice trend. There you go. Let's go to the weekly, though, to get a better perspective. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Deep drop into support. Absolutely, you can manage your risk. Now, should you buy here? You can, absolutely, but you have to manage your risk. I would use this wick. If I buy, my stop loss would be at like 1830, right? It's the thing. You can buy any reasonable level, a dip in an uptrend, right? Certainly, as long as you manage your risk based on that level, okay? All right. Could BTC touch 63, 64K before it hits 70? Yeah, but I probably not. It probably does not. Let's see, 4 hour. Probably not. I mean, here, sure, it could, but I think probably not. I think we complete this V up to this range. I think we complete the V to around 70, 72, and then you kind of shift to low time frame. Like I said earlier, that's just a guess, though. Just a guess. Love your response. You're welcome. Thank you for your insight. You're welcome. How do I gauge sentiment? Yes. Content, comments on my feed and Bitcoin Live. Again, Bitcoin Live is the secret to my success. And if you haven't checked it out, go to the public blog. There's a free report from me. I made my December report free, so you can kind of see what I do there twice a week. XLE looks great. It's breaking out. Yeah, absolutely. I have my eye on XLE. It's an energy ETF. For Shizzle. XLE in here somewhere. It's just, there's a million. There's so many charts. How do you organize them all? How do you keep a track of it? I think I have XLE up there. XLF, financials. Sorry about this. Yeah, I have it in somewhere. I'll just do it this way. It's so many watch lists. It's just what I do is crazy, watching all these things. The pure insanity of it. Okay, let's go to... is this the right... No. We're going to go to here. There we go. All right. XLE is the energy ETF. And yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. Let's go here. This, and we'll do it like that. And then we'll go to here. Yeah, that's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Beautiful weekly breakout, too. Look at that. Look at that. Is gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful breakout. Big fan of that. So we're here for Bitcoin, though, for the most part. So walking through the story, right? What's the story? Well, the story is the weekly rollover, right? The story is the weekly loss of the weekly 50. Failed throwback. And then the initial overreaction dip. And I have a bunch of tweets where I walk through this for you. I'm not going to sport your patience by going through them all again. But we had that first overreaction dip, and we began a mean reversion, right? The idea of a mean reversion is a bounce back to the mean, right? Which is the MA20, the middle of the move. And we began a mean reversion, all right? And in that, we had a failed breakout over 94.5. Similar to the move we had here in 2022. And anybody who's reasonable was kind of on watch for that. I talked about it on here on YouTube. I talked about it in Bitcoin Live, every video. And failed breakout, and this was just a really bad sign for bulls. So if you hadn't sold yet, you kind of had to sell when it failed to hold at 94.5. Back around this range, though, around early December, I basically said we're going to go to 76K. And our price reaction there will be a really important clue about how long it's going to take to get to here. So we had the weak reaction, 76K. And as it's happening, I'm saying, be ready. Okay, weak reaction. That's when I put this out. We started at the weak reaction. I said, be ready. 62K zone. But for it to happen, we're going to need this. We're going to need the overreaction because the proof that the sell-off was orderly and not enough for a real snap-back counter-trend rally, which would have begun. Snap-back counter-trend rally has begun now because we have this overreaction in the high time frame, corresponding with things like lowest daily RSI since the COVID crash and highest daily volume candle, since like whatever, 2024 in here somewhere, right? I have the tweet, whatever. So here's where it is. We got that overreaction dip. And if you want to know my thinking, how I planned for this, and not new, but how I thought it was incredibly logical for the price. Okay, I'll do you. People want me to do one more chart. I'll do it. How I thought it was incredibly logical for the price to get to 62K and then to bounce. Here's the video, 3-minute video, and explains it. And explains really how even with the head and shoulders, you can't just draw a measured move because you're not going to chop through all this. I mean, we consolidated here for 6 months. 2021 peak, rising SMA 200, all these concepts in classical charting you're going to hold here. And so we did. And then you're on watch for the hold. And then we have the 4-hour setup like I talked about. The 4-hour setup for the bump and run. Beginning of the bounce. And the 12 red in a row on watch for a pin bar. And we got the pin bar, or pseudo pin bar. And beginning to bounce. So I've hopefully taught you the technique. I've hopefully explained to you the wizardry or the magic of why I thought it was going here, what I did once we got to that level, and then just to play by play. And I want you to be more empowered. And that's what I want you to do. With all my work, especially the trading encyclopedia, all my updates, is I want to empower you. So hopefully you feel much more, you get it a lot more. And if you don't, watch the stream again, watch the encyclopedia, and watch the video I have pinned, okay? You wanted me to check out one more chart. A bunch of you asked for UU. Okay, we can do that. Okay, it's ranging. There's just not much to say. It's just ranging. It's consolidating. Overall, favoring bulls. That's 4 hours. Go here. Yeah. This overall favors bulls, but it's just consolidating. This is a nice little falling wedge type of consolidation. Let me just do that. Falling wedge type of consolidation. If I would guess, it's around the 50% retracement. I have a video on how to, fib retracement tool. I have a video on fib extension tool. I just do it. I've eyeballed. There you go. Right at the 50%. This is a pretty good consolidation. You want to see it hold here, right around 19, right? I have all this stuff, all these techniques. I have videos for you. Hopefully you're taking advantage of that. Again, Ethereum, you can take along in a recapture of 2150 if you get it. But folks, thank you. It's been an hour. I love hanging out with you. I would honestly stream more, but I'm dedicated to Bitcoin Live, and I have to keep it real. I'm dedicated. So that's where I do my long form analysis. But I still try to stream here when I can. I got my books, all 4 on Amazon. Get them free on my YouTube. I just want you to kind of know where I'm coming from. I tweet out a lot of stuff, and it's nice to be able to take some time and to explain it with you. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. Thanks for spending a little bit of your precious time here with me. Make sure you're subscribed. Please consider subscribing, hitting like, all that great stuff. But other than that, we'll talk soon. Again, I'm going to finish up with Church of 8 Wheels. We'll have a little bit of dancing. Hope you folks have a great week, a great weekend, and may the markets treat you well. Let's do this.